Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to our online class. Today we're going to see about the equilibrium between aggregate demand function and aggregate supply function. So far we have completed the details of aggregate demand function and aggregate supply function in detail. Now we are going to see the equilibrium, that is between ADF and ASF. Under this Keynes theory of employment, it is a simple two-sector economy consisting of the household and the firm sector equilibrium between ADF and ASF. All the decisions concerning the consumption expenditure and uh, expansion consumption expenditure are taken by the individual household. Firms take the decision concerning investment. It is also assumed that consumption function is linear. It is a planned investment and it is autonomous. In this approaches, there are two approaches in this differentiation between equilibrium between ADF and ASF. There are two approaches to the determination of the equilibrium level of income in Keynesian theory. They are, one is aggregate demand, aggregate supply approach, and another one is saving investment approach. There are two approaches, aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach, and aggregate demand and supply approach followed by saving investment approach. But we are not at all going to see in detail about saving investment approach. In this chapter, out of these two, aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach, only we are going to be it is going to be explained by me to understand the determination of equilibrium level of income and employment. This is the diagram. Just to see, these are all the important points which I have given you, which I will be explaining now. After that, the sentence formation of each and every point is given here. Is the employment aggregate. Employment is N1 and R1. That is, here aggregate and aggregate supply approach under the schemes I have given you. I'm going to give you all the important points which are in the textbooks as it is. I will be giving you, making it short, and I'm giving you. before that, let us see the diagram. At ON1, that is this ON1 employment. This ON1 employment, the aggregate supply is N1R1. See, we have made it. This is employment. Okay, this is horizontal and vertical curves which has been ADF and ASF I have given, and then employment we have given. This ON1 is the employment. The aggregate supply is N1 and R1. Only this much. Okay, but they are able to actually they are able to in supply function I am talking about the N1 and R1, but they are able to produce till M1 to N1. They are able to produce, but they are able to produce M1 to N1. The expected level profit is M1 to N1. This much their expected level, and they are able to produce. To attain the level of the profit, the entrepreneurs will employ more laborers. At the point of E, the level of NO, this is NO, that is aggregate demand and aggregate, this is demand and this is aggregate supply, is equal. Aggregate supply curve and aggregate demand curve both are equal. The tendency to employ more employers will be stopped at once when they reach the point E. After they are reaching the point E, they will stop employing more laborers. Beyond ONO, O and NO, okay, the aggregate supply, this one I'm talking about. The aggregate supply curve indicating the loss of the producers. Supply curve, okay, is indicating the loss of producers. So they will never employ more. The difference between NO and NF, this difference is the level of unemployment. Is the concept of effective demand becomes significant. Are you able to understand the diagram? Yes, each and every slide I have not given the diagram, but I have given the important points which are to be noted by you. Equilibrium between ADF and ASF. In this diagram, the aggregate demand and the aggregate supply reach equilibrium at the point of E. The employment level is NO. NO is 0 itself at that point. At ON1, employment, the aggregate supply is N1 and R1, but they are able to produce M1 and A1. The expected level of profit is M1 and R1. To attain this level of profit, the entrepreneurs will employ more laborers. The tendency to employ more labor will stop once they reach the point E. At all levels of employment beyond ONO, the aggregate demand curve is below the aggregate supply curve, indicating the loss to the producers. Hence, they will never employ more than ONO labor. Thus, effective demand concept becomes a crucial point in determining the equilibrium level of output in the capitalist economy. In the capitalist economy, are a free market economy in the Keynesian system. I'll read out and give you once again the meaning for this. Thus, the effective demand concept becomes a crucial point in determining the equilibrium level of output in the capitalist economy or a free trade market economy in the Keynesian system. It is important to note that the equilibrium level of employment need not be the full employment level, that is N1. From the diagram we are able to understand. It is understood that the difference between NO and NF is the level of unemployment. Thus, the concept of effective demand becomes significant in explaining underemployment equilibrium. Now, let us see the difference between Keynesianism and classism. Keynesianism is J.M. Keynes law. Classism is J.B. Say's law. It is Keynesianism is short run equilibrium and classism it is long run equilibrium. Point 2. Saving is wise, but saving is social virtue. And the function of third point, the function of money is medium of exchange on one side and the store of value on other side. Here, the function of money is to act as a medium of exchange. 4. Macro approach to national problems. Here, macro foundation to macro problems. Sorry. Micro foundation to macro. That is, it will take long run to produce the profit. Next, fifth one, state intervention is advocated, and here champions of a laissez-faire policy. 6. Applicable to all situations, full employment and less than full employment, and applicable only to the full employment situation. Capitalism has inherent contradictions. Capitalism is well and good. Budgeting should be adjusted to the requirements of the economy. But in classism, it is a balanced budget. The equality between saving and investment is advanced through changes in income. The equality between saving and investment is achieved through changes of rate of interest. 10. The rate of interest is determined by the demand for supply of money. And here in classism, the rate of interest is determined by saving and investment. 11. The rate of interest is slow, and classism, the rate of interest is stop. 12. Demand creates its own supply, and classism, supply creates its own demand. And 13. Rate of interest is a reward for parting with liquidity. The rate of interest is a reward for saving. Actually, there are 13 points. For you, I have made 10 points which are very, very important, and some of the points I have made it in short so that easily you can understand. Short run equilibrium, long run equilibrium. Saving is wise, saving is social nature. Macro approach to national problems, micro foundation to macro problems. State intervention is advocated, laissez-faire policy is advocated. The rate of interest is determined by the demand for the supply of money. Rate of interest is determined by the saving and investment. Rate of interest is slow. The rate of interest is stop. Demand creates its own supply. Supply creates its own demand. And balanced budget. Applicable to all the situations, full employment and less than full employment. It is applicable only to the full employment. Capitalism has contradictions. Capitalism is well and good. This 10 points, if you write for 5 mark question, that is more than enough. And let us see, we have come to the end of the third lesson. What does Keynes wants to tell us? Keynes summary is nothing but it is Keynes challenged the classical economic theory regarding the merits of state intervention in market and led to widespread shift in both economic theory and government policies worldwide in the post-World War II period. Okay, and glossary. Um, some of that glossary, which are very, very important points. For example, um, yesterday I have given you some of the points if I want to. Inelastic, I have given you, and curtailed, and then autonomous. Some of the points I will make a note in next slide, and some of the points: full employment, unemployment, disguised unemployment. In short, it has been given underemployment, effective demand, aggregate supply, aggregate demand, MPC, and MEC, money supply, etc. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.